A lawyer filed court papers built on 6 cases that never existed. An AI made them up, quotes and all, and he didn't check. He got sanctioned, and it's happened hundreds of times since then. So today, why AI lies to your face without even knowing it, and the businesses already paying for it in court, and the 3 free habits that keep you off that list. Don't be dumb.
Hey guys, I'm Paul.
I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the Blueprint Automation Systems. Welcome back to the AI dictionary we're working on creating for you guys, where we take one piece of that AI jargon you hear all the time and try to translate it into plain spoken English to make you and your AI education increase at a better rate. Last episode, we talked about AI automation, letting AI run steps for you in your business. Today, we're going to go with the flip side. We're going to talk about the risks, the thing that makes all of this risky if you are not particularly careful. It's called hallucinations. No, we're not talking about the magic mushroom kind. When it's AI confidently, you used a 5-year-old, a couple analogy in a couple videos back, tells you something that just is not true.
Right. But it really believes it's true. And so this is probably one of the more important episodes in the whole series, because this one thing, if you don't understand it, can really come back and bite you in the rear. So we'll show you exactly how to protect yourself in this video. Stay tuned.
Yep. What is a hallucination when we're talking about AI? It's when the model generates information that sounds true but isn't. We mentioned this in a previous video. The LLMs are large language models. They are pulling from the entire interwebs and then extrapolating and trying to fill in the blanks.
And they're pulling, the interwebs or books or whatever,
Yes.
They were used to train
Yes.
that LLM. It does not immediately or automatically go out to the internet every time you ask it a question,
Right.
and pull information in. It's based on its training set of data that it has stored in its memory.
It's not lying to you, at least because lying involves intent. Lying means I know the truth and I am intentionally telling you a falsehood. It thinks it's telling you the truth.
Right.
Again, 5-year-old, really excited 5-year-old. If you go back to episode 2, we talked about this dictionary. LLM predicts what the next most likely word is from patterns. If you are a psychology nerd like I am, gestalts are where you can show a person a part of an image and your brain automatically fills in the rest of that image. It's what the LLM is doing. It's filling in what it thinks should have been there.
Right. Yeah. And it might not actually be there, but it still thinks it's there. Right. And one of the big details is this is where, like, I think I was talking about my 10-year-old son, right? When there's times where he's delivering something to, like, information to me or telling me a story about something, and he is super confident. He believes that story is true, whether it's based in reality or not. He believes it's true. And an LLM is the same way. It's taking the knowledge that it has, and when it gives you an answer, it sounds incredibly confident, as much as it is when it's right as when it's wrong. And there's no there's no hesitation. It doesn't be like, I'm not really sure about this one, but here's what I think I know. No, it delivers that with absolute security that what it's telling you is 100% correct.
My absolute favorite thing right now, having both a teenage staff and working with much younger students, the ones who are currently fascinated with the 90s like to tell me 90s facts. And I'm like, guys, I was there. See the gray in the beard? I was there. A, you don't need to tell me. B, you're insanely wrong. That is not what happened or what was true. Right. Or if you've lived big life events, 9/11. I have had kids who were not alive during 9/11 tell me 9/11 facts. And I'm like, that's not accurate at all. Yeah. But man, they're telling you with a lot of conviction.
They're confident.
A whole lot of conviction.
They believe what they're saying, for sure.
Right.
Some things that, like, what this looks like in the real world, right? So, like, citing a legal case that doesn't actually exist, quoting statistics that were never published, or it might even give out a phone number that belongs to a different business because it thinks it knew what your phone number was and whether you told it that or not. Or like describing a product feature that it doesn't actually offer or that you don't offer. Yeah.
It may even invent a policy that contradicts from your real ones, or, this is important, the actual law.
Yeah.
Best analogy, really confident intern who never ever says, I don't know. I have to teach my staff, you probably have too, guys, it's okay to say, I don't know. Let me go get, Sensei Paul, let me go get the guy who knows or the person who knows. It feels forced to give a really crisp, really detailed answer, whether or not it is correct. And the times that it's wrong, for us on the outside, it's exactly the same as when it's correct. It doesn't sound or look or tell any different. It doesn't give you like a 22% accuracy.
Right.
It'd be kind of cool if it did that, but it doesn't. Yeah. So you are always going to have to be that stop check like we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about how often this actually happens, right? Hallucinations, right? So when you hand the AI or your AI a document and you ask it to summarize that document, the best models, right, your ChatGPTs and your Geminis and your Claudes, they're all excellent at that. Error rates are down in the very low single digits. Used to be a lot worse in the past, but now if it's grounded in some sort of source material that you've fed it, pretty darn reliable.
If you ask it to go back and recall facts from memory, it starts getting a lot worse. Open-ended and factual recall, error rates run from the teens all the way up over 40%, depending upon the model and the depth of the question that you are now asking it. So being very conscious of that fact.
Yeah. Now, but on like specialized stuff, like legal research, or even there's like, you can purpose build an AI tool that does a specific thing for your company and only for your company. Those still hallucinate roughly, I think it was like 1 out of every 6 queries or questions that you ask it, and also potentially more depending on what it is you're building, right? And it was a Stanford study that found dedicated legal tools were wrong 17 to 33% of the time. And plain ChatGPT is over 40% getting legal questions wrong. Now,
I gotta talk to my lawyer.
Yeah. Now, ultimately, right, like we did research before we recorded this video. By the time we release this video, that might already change. A new version might come out, and it's dropping slowly over time. Each model that comes out, it's a little bit better, but
there is a twist to this that we're not expecting. The new reasoning models haven't actually fixed this. They are getting a little bit better. Some of them are actually getting a little bit worse on factual recall. The more reasoning does not necessarily mean you're going to net out a more accurate result. There are ways to build this in, so just be conscious of that fact. This is part of what we're talking about and try to build up for you guys. But just a very simple, very basic, the new model is much smarter, is not the safety net that you may think it is.
Right. And the reason why is like, and this will go back to that 10-year-old analogy, right? The more that 10-year-old or AI learns, the more it thinks it's correct, right? I have all this knowledge. I must be able to extrapolate the correct answer from all of this knowledge. And so with each new LLM that comes out, or each new version, new model that comes out, it has more information. That's essentially what, and there's new features and it's got a cool little tool and it does a thing, but it's been fed a lot more information. So each new version just thinks it's smarter. It's pulling from a whole different batch of information or more information. More information doesn't necessarily make you smarter, and it just, causes you to guess or assume more.
There's a great term for this for humans. It's ultra-crepidarian. I had never heard it either. One of my teenage staff brought it to me, and I was very impressed because she's smart.
No.
I'm a reader. I like words. I had never heard this one before. And it's someone who pontificates at length about a topic that they know a tiny little bit about. We've all met that human. Congratulations. LLM can, not always, but can be that human. So these are things to be conscious of.
Yeah. So big takeaway here, right? Like if it's grounded in your documents, or you've built a second brain around it and you fed it very specific information, it's a pretty strong tool, right? Pulling facts from thin air, it's kind of a coin flip on those harder questions or stuff with like a lot of legalese behind it. So just know which one you're doing and understand that there's going to be times where it delivers you an answer and you're going to want to double click into that a little bit, right?
Yeah. Just check. Yeah. Just see if your 10-year-old's full of crap or not.
That's right. So some of the real examples, so some real cases that we found that have already cost businesses some real money. And I'm not talking small mistakes here, right? So this isn't theoretical. This is like, it's a pile of court records right now. So back in 2024, Air Canada, they stood up a website chatbot on their website, and that chatbot was AI based. It's not like a little question and answer decision tree. It was an actual AI chatbot on their website, and it invented a refund policy that did not exist. So there were customers that relied on it, and Air Canada argued that that bot was its own separate thing and not their problem. And the court system said, nope, you built that, you're liable for it, regardless of if it's an AI intelligent bot or not. And Air Canada paid out a lot due to that mistake.
So the thing to burn into your mind, you are responsible for what your AI, again, we're talking customer facing, tells the world. The bot said it is not a defense, right? Like I told you guys in previous videos, I've had to go back and unwind things that my team has done because they made an oopsies, but I had to go back and unwind it and make it okay. Same concept here. Just because it's a computer doing the talking doesn't mean you don't own it if it is forward facing.
Right, yep. So there was another example, it was law firms. And so there was a New York case that kind of started this whole thing. It was the one that was big in the news, but a big firm got sanctioned early in 2025 when 8 of 9 cases in a filing turned out to be fake. Later that year, a California attorney got fined $10,000 after 21 of 23 quotes in his brief were AI fabricated. They didn't.
93% or something like that.
Yeah. Like, again, this was early on in the AI process where it hallucinated a lot more, and they got burned by it because they didn't have a human check in place.
Researchers have been tracking this, obviously, right? They've logged hundreds of court decisions involving hallucinated AI content. The vast majority were just in 2025. And it's not slowing down, it's accelerating. Obviously, AI is becoming more and more systemic in our lives. We're using it more, but these examples of these massive fails have to be a warning sign to check.
Right.
The one that matters most for us and me as a brick and mortar small business, Air Canada wasn't using a lawyer. It was using a business with a customer-facing bot, and especially what owners are trying to rush to get stood up, right? I spent yesterday working on that AI voice agent. I'm iterating, I'm laughing every time it messes up, and I'm trying to be like, okay, go fix that, okay, go fix this. You don't let your employees make up policy on the spot. I wouldn't let them try in the moment in talking with a client to just make up new rules. Right. I'm not going to let the bot do that either. I'm going to, at least for like my AI agent is a good example where it's like, okay, I can do this, this, and this, and now I have to get you to a human.
Yep. Yeah, and the examples we gave, right, like a big airline, lawyers, and things like that. But as a small business, you might stand up a bot, and if it starts giving false information and that doesn't benefit you financially or for whatever reason, whether it's a trust basis or some sort of financial decision like making up a refund policy or something, like you're going to be liable for those things. So it's important to understand what hallucinations are and how they can affect your business before you put something in place that could screw you.
Right.
So let's talk quickly about how to protect your business, right? So treat every AI output as a first draft, not a final answer. That one habit prevents most of the damage. So for me, anytime I'm talking to my AI agent and I'm asking it something important or just, I'm constantly testing it, pressure checking the things that it tells me. It might give me a response and I'll ask it. I'll just come right out and say, did you pull that from your historical knowledge, or did you actually go out to the internet and research that with current facts? And as most AI chatbots, if you've ever used one, it's like, oh, you're right. You caught me there. Good call, sir. And
sorry, those mushrooms were actually poisonous.
Yeah, exactly. No, you shouldn't have eaten that. Sorry, go to the hospital. But
30 seconds.
Make sure, if it's something important and it smells just a touch fishy, or even if it doesn't, it takes a quick second just to and it'll admit when it screws up when you catch it. Make sure you're checking.
Yeah, so this is going to be grounded in your documentation. which is why, again, if you're a small business owner and you have a lot of that institutional knowledge rattling around in here, you're going to have to create those systems. So we have a previous video where we talked about what RAG is and what RAG does. You're going to feed it your real policy, pricing, FAQ. I'll tell you right now, my voice agent, we're recording calls. I don't actually mean calls with clients. We're recording, we're at 5 so far, which is almost nothing. And we want to get to about 20 of practice phone calls, taking that transcript, feeding it to the agent to try and get all of our edge cases down. This is going to be, so it's grounded in real world answers instead of it just trying to pull from memory, which is where it gets to make up more stuff.
Right. And really quick too, just for if you hadn't watched the previous video, right, and we mentioned RAG, that another common term for it is like an AI second brain or a second brain, right? And it's basically storage of the things that live in your head or belong to your company, like employee manuals or process documents, SOPs, things like that. You can build a RAG or a second brain that contains that information and give that to your AI agent. So at least when you're asking it specific questions about your business, it's grounded in your documents, your policies, your SOPs.
These things can cite sources. They can also make up fake citations. So asking for one is a very, very powerful function for surfacing that. But then don't just accept the citation.
Right.
Go click on it. When it should give you the link, especially if you ask for it. So just make sure to click on it, check, hey, that's a real actual document. That's a real white paper. That's a real PubMed, whatever it is. Make sure the thing actually exists in the real world.
Yeah, and like for example, with my Claude, right? I have a thing on it that says, like, if you go do research, I want you to cite it and give me a link to where you found that. And there's been times where that link goes nowhere and it's just made stuff up and put something out there, but it allows me to quickly just go in and double check that information and make sure it actually exists and it's based on reality.
Yeah, I to that end, I would never put a customer-facing bot live without a leash, a sandbox, a RAG system in place. If it has the ability to state policy, and it has to state your real actual policy from a real actual document you have created, agreed upon, and it understands, that's the Air Canada lesson in a single sentence.
Yeah, and there's definitely like ways to protect yourself. You can put rules in place like never deliver this information unless you look here first at this document, things like that. And obviously this was back when a lot of this stuff was still in its infancy and a couple companies were, blazing a trail. I'm going to use AI, it's the best thing. And they got burnt because they didn't put the right catches in place and they didn't test it properly to make sure it's going to do the things that you want it to do.
BAS risk rating time. This one's high, guys. It's a red. Anything financial, legal, medical, financial, or factual, obviously you've got to put these systems in place. You've got to be very conscious of what's out there. This is the one place in the series where we are not hedging our bets in any way, shape, or form. We're being open and honest with you.
Yeah, ultimately, right, like the things that stand up an AI agent if you need to for the things that you need it to do. Just understand that you can't always take AI output as gospel and make a business decision on it without verifying it, or you're going to get burned. It's not a question of if, it's just more of a question of when. And that's why, and we talk about this in other videos, start small, test, retest, or check, recheck, and make sure that it's consistently giving you the correct answer before you set it off into the wild.
Good news on this one. The fix, the solution, is actually both simple and free. Check, recheck, verify, ground it in reality, keep a human being in the loop. To that end, we talk about if this is a 10-hour project, AI can do 8.5, 9 hours of the project. But that last hour or that system check, the human does not go away. Again, especially client or forward facing or really on anything that matters.
Yeah, and even with our own AI automations that we've put together, and we've built an entire kind of command center that automatically edits our videos and builds our shorts for us and writes our copy for us because we produce a lot of content and we can't get through it all. But at every check of that, before it sends something out into the wild, I have to go in and I have to read it, I can edit it, I can approve it, and then I have it automated so it'll post it for me. Like you guys don't care that I'm the one on social media on my phone posting a video over and over again at like midnight, but you do care that you care that the information we're providing you is accurate and based in reality and things like that. So it's very important to make sure when you're first standing these things up, you always have that human check in place until you are incredibly confident that either it's not going to break your company or it's not going to break. All right, so let's wrap this one up. Hallucination isn't a glitch. It's the AI confidently filling gaps with plausible fiction, and it sounds identical to the truth, right? Make sure you understand that. Like it's there and it's confident. You need to understand that that is a potential risk gap.
If you ground your things in documentation, modern AI is actually really, really strong. Yeah. Pulling facts from it's been trained on memory, on hard questions, unreliable, and even the best tools out there right now, the smarter models, the newest models. I think ChatGPT just released a new one yesterday. It didn't fix it. It didn't make this go away. And real businesses have actually paid in, again, we talk about customer equity, right? Yeah. Client reliability, client trust, and actual hard, real dollars. You are going to be liable for what your bot tells your clientele.
Yeah, absolutely. And, ultimately, could you trust AI output as fact? Sure, until the one time that it costs you some real dollars. So don't. Verify the stuff that matters every time until you're sure that it is 100% accurate all the time, because this is your business. You built it. AI tools are fantastic and they're going to alleviate a ton of your workload and can really help you be more efficient in your business, but don't shoot yourself in the foot either.
One of the things that's protected our combined years of 40 years in business and small business, right, is to never, ever, ever be too proud or too busy to double check your work, right? Or your team's work. AI doesn't change anything about that particular rule. It actually makes it more important. Again, like a new employee. Trust, use, verify, especially with a thing that's talking to you, sounds like it was never, ever, ever unsure about anything it ever said, like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, exactly, right. Next episode, we're going to talk about AI voice agents. This is Paul's favorite topic and the big thing that we're trying to implement at the dojo. So the phone that answers itself and whether you should let it or not.
We have this thing called a school community, SKOOL. It's where we are building for you guys to have more resources. We're going to be putting X amount out on YouTube and Y into our school, but it's also a great community for small business owners and resources to bounce ideas off each other. We talk about AI and automation all the time, but how about just general business principles? Yep. We'll be talking about those as well based on our many years of experience.
Yeah, and be sure to stop by the school community too. We're going to start doing some weekly live calls where we're going to have one that's more specific to just small business advice. And then the other one will be a lot more AI heavy, but you can't access that without joining our school community. So come check it out.
All right, guys, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll see you guys for new episodes every single week.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.